welcome to the Cheap Air Gunner channel. It's Cherokee Steve. I wanted to do a video going back to the Hatsan Flashpup in 25 caliber. Now that I've had it for as long as I've had it and have used it on the last couple of squirrel hunting outings, and I've had it with me, I thought I would do a little video on the pros and the cons of this particular bullpup. I want to get right into it. One of the things I went ahead and did is put the Hatsan Hercules bully that I have in 45 caliber up on the table next to the Flashpup, just to go over some of the things I'm going to refer to as I go through the pros and cons of the Flashpup. Okay, so let's get into it. I thought I would focus on the positive of the gun and go over the pros that I would consider to be significant, mentionable aspects of the Flashpup. First of all, it is a short and light gun. Big thumbs up for that. It's easily carried for hours without a sling. The last time I took it out with me on a squirrel hunting day, I was out for a better part of 4 hours and carried it the entire time. And as I said, carried this for hours on end without any fatigue whatsoever. It's that light of a gun. Now that is extremely, in my experience with Hatsan air guns, very unusual. Hatsan air guns definitely tend to run on the heavy side. Every single one that I've owned. The two 1844 versions that I've owned have run on the upper end of a weight scale. One of the reasons, and a gun that I departed with, that basically the Flashpup replaced, the AT-44 Tact that I had in 25 caliber, just was too heavy of a gun. And that had a tactical configuration to it. A very minimalized stock that seemed to not do a whole lot as far as reducing weight. Pretty heavy gun. And even the Hatsan Hercules bully here, even though it's a bullpup, is pretty heavy air gun. Definitely would not take it out without a sling. And so just getting back to the fact that this is something Hatsan definitely made a choice about and an investment in, as far as putting out an extremely light air gun. It's a great all-day hunting gun. Another pro to it is the side lever. Now, this originally came with a bolt action, similar to the Carnivore in 357 that I have, which is a bolt action and had a very, very rough and stiff bolt action to it until I made some modifications to it. Now, Hatsan went ahead and changed that loading apparatus to a side lever on the Carnivore. They did the same thing with the Flashpup in synthetic. With the synthetic stock, they went from a bolt action loading mechanism to a side lever. This is very smooth and operates very easily as far as the bolt action itself. Another thing that I really like about this gun is the very simple styling to the gun. It has Hatsan is known for making some very particular shaped, looked wise guns, especially the ones with synthetic stocks. And they've been, pretty creative is what I was trying to think of. The word I was trying to think of, creative, with their designs of their stocks, both in wood and in synthetic. But this particular one, very simple. He has some stippling in the gripping areas up here just in front of the trigger guard, and of course on the grip. Other than that, they've decided to keep a very smooth, clean looking stock to this particular gun. And if you go over to the Hercules Bully, it's got some design indentations in it, specifically that don't have any functional purpose. Back here on the side of the rear of the stock, just underneath where the cheek riser is, they've got this Z type of shape embedded into the stock. It kind of has its, what I refer to as quirkiness to it. And if you definitely want to look at a Hatsan synthetic stocked bullpup that, in my opinion, is very quirky looking, you're either going to love it or you're going to hate it. One or the other. Take a look at the Hatsan Bull Boss. You'll understand what I'm trying to communicate here. This is the opposite of it. It's a very quiet, backyard-friendly air gun. The quiet energy shrouded barrel on this gun is by far, this is the most quiet Hatsan rifle that I have ever owned. I have shot it in the backyard. I will continue to shoot it in the backyard. I am pretty much over any fears of neighbors having an issue with me shooting it. I really don't think they'll even know that I am shooting it. It's that quiet. One of the nice features that Hatsan has added to the synthetic stock version of the Flashpup is not only do you get the Picatinny rail down here in the front underneath, you get one on the side just above the one that's underneath. They added that to the synthetic stock version. As far as I am aware, that has not been added to the Woodstock version. The only rail you're going to get on the Woodstock version is the one underneath the front end, just in front of the trigger guard. You don't get the two that are up on the sides. So that is a nice feature for this particular model. One of the things I also like about this particular gun is the butt pad. It is adjustable. It is adjustable up and down. It has a single screw in the back, and all you need to do is loosen it. And inside of here, there is a track system. There is a nut that rides on behind and in between two rails, which is what the screws into, that nut. But that nut has a very wide travel range in that slot, so you can really get this butt pad up very high, very low, if that's to your liking and your needs. As far as I recall, there was no mention of that in the owner's manual as far as the butt pad being adjustable, but it is. Again, I'm not familiar with the wood stock version, but the synthetic stock version of the Flashpup, a adjustable butt pad is a part of the pros that I would list for this particular gun. One of the things, it's a common feature that comes on all of Hatsan's rifles, but I thought it was worth mentioning, which is pretty cool in my opinion, and that is their optics rail that they have. Not only on the Flashpup, but pretty much on any of their guns. All of their guns as far as I'm aware. And that is a rail that will accommodate both Picatinny mounts or dovetail mounts. You can use either. So if your scope mounts are for a dovetail, that's great. You can use them on this. You don't have to buy new scope mounts. Or Picatinny, same thing. It's not either or. It accommodates both, and I think that's a real cool thing that Hatsan does. The function of the gun, the power and the accuracy of this gun are phenomenal. If you watch the video, I believe I called it the heavy metal ammo version video, which I was shooting some of the heavier, well, all of the heaviest 25 caliber ammo that I had. With the heaviest, the Yunjin pointed pellets that I have, this thing was producing close to 54 foot-pounds of energy at the muzzle. Now, for something of this size, in this price range, I don't think it has an equal for producing that type of power and the accuracy that comes along with it. Now, I also want to list as a pro and have taken into account everything in the general overall impression of this particular bullpup is the price. I acquired this bullpup new for $359.99, free shipping. So for under $360, you get a PCP bullpup that is capable of producing extremely close to 54 foot-pounds of energy, easily producing consistently over 40 foot-pounds of energy, depending on the ammo that you use. Anywhere, I would, as a general summation, I would say anywhere between 40 and 55 foot-pounds of energy, depending on the ammo that you use, can be generated with this under $360 bullpup. Which, again, I don't think there's an equal on the market of this. Now, with all that being said, there are things I do not like about this particular gun, and I want to get into those now. The cons. Number one, the magazines. I mentioned this in other videos I've made before. I just really am not a fan of the magazines that are used in the Hatsan Flashpup. The magazine itself is a very sloppy fit in the breech. It moves around quite a bit. In general, it doesn't affect the loading of the pellet itself, although I have had one instance, which I will get into in a different video, that did produce a jam, not of a pellet, but a jam of the bolt. It would not move forward, and the reason for it was because of the loose fitting magazine. So I just really am not a fan of it. The positioning of the side lever. It's your trigger is up here and your side lever is back here. Trigger, side lever. And it is necessary you have to be very diligent in your pulling back of the side lever. Now, I have been able to pull back the side lever and index the magazine and load another pellet and not have the hammer held back by the sear. The sear did not engage the hammer. So you really got to make sure that that side lever is pulled fully to the backwards position. And in order to do that, the gun has to be moved away from your shooting position. To reach back here and work that side lever and keep the gun where you would naturally have it for shooting, you just can't do those two things. Unlike the Hercules bully, where the side lever is directly over the trigger. Now, I'm sure that due to extra parts that are necessary for facilitating that side lever to be over the trigger and adding cost and weight to the gun, Hatsan decided to go with what is a common setup on a lot of bullpups, but that's to have this rear position, this very back position to the side lever loading mechanism. But I definitely consider that, especially having a Hatsan bullpup with the side lever over the trigger, you really notice the difference in holding the gun in a shooting position and being to load a slug/pellet and get a follow-up shot. Side lever over the trigger being much easier than this rear positioned side lever. Another con I want to list for this particular gun is that it's not left-handed friendly. I'm a right-handed shooter, so it doesn't really affect me. As far as I know, Hatsan doesn't offer the gun in a left-handed version, but the side lever mechanism is on the right side, is not left-handed shooter friendly, and the magazines can only be loaded from the right side. They can't be loaded from the left side. So with those two things combined, I could see if you are a left-handed shooter, you might want to look at something else that is more accommodating than the Flashpup. Getting back to that particular point, one of the guns I looked at and I liked appearance-wise and overall review-wise, I was really impressed with it, was the Walther Rain bullpup in 25 caliber. That particular bullpup runs around $600. And they're very, I don't want to, get into talking too much about the Walther Rain. There are certainly differences between it and the Hatsan Flashpup, besides price, that somebody can consider to be a plus over the Flashpup. Side lever is movable from the right side to the left side on the Walther Rain, and the magazines can be loaded from the right or the left. It is much more left-handed friendly than this particular gun. There, from videos I've watched and reviews that I've read, there are some things that you can do with the Flashpup very easily that you can't do with the Walther Rain without getting into specifics. There's pros and cons to each gun, and one gun versus the other. My ultimate bottom line choice and bottom line factor, determining factor in what I ended up getting the Flashpup was cost. Again, I could summarize it all by cheap air gunner. I don't have a whole lot of money to spend and want to get the most for the money that I do have to spend, and looking at those two particular guns, it was kind of an easy decision for me anyway to go with the Flashpup. So that kind of summarizes the pros and the cons I have with the Hatsan Flashpup. It is a little bit shorter than the Hercules Bully. It is much lighter than the Hercules Bully. Very different guns. One is 25 caliber, one is 45 caliber. Calibers and the versions that I have, and it's not fair to compare one to the other. Although the Bully is available in 177, pretty much every caliber you can think of, the Bully is available in, from 177 all the way up to 45 caliber. So if a 177 version is similar, if not exactly the same in weight as my 45 caliber, man, I can't imagine lugging this all day through the woods trying to do some hunting with this gun. It's definitely not a all-day hauler, as opposed to the Flashpup, which is. I guess that's pretty much the only side-by-side specific characteristic I'm going to focus on between the two. But hopefully, if you're considering a Hatsan Flashpup, maybe this helped. Even if you're not, I certainly hope the video provided some information for you. If you're in the market for a bullpup, I would definitely, put the Flashpup on your list. May not have the features you're looking for, but for the money, it certainly is a very impressive bullpup and certainly should not be overlooked. So, with all of that being said, guys, till the next video, stay safe and shoot safe.